My beloved child, there are moments when life becomes strangely quiet, almost as if the world is holding its breath before revealing something you were never prepared to see. Right now, you may believe you understand what is happening around you. You see the people you meet, the conversations you hear, the opportunities that appear and disappear, the doors that seem closed, and the days that sometimes feel completely ordinary. But what if the ordinary moments have been hiding an extraordinary story? What if the things you thought were delays were actually preparation? What if the silence you misunderstood was actually protecting something that was not ready to be revealed? Don't skip. Because this is where the story begins to change. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and the most surprising part is that it may already be closer than you think. There are things happening beyond what your eyes can immediately recognize. You have been walking through situations without knowing the full picture, making decisions with only a small piece of information, and sometimes wondering why certain things did not happen when you expected them to happen. Yet every unanswered question has been leading you toward a moment of understanding. You thought you were simply moving through another ordinary chapter, but there may be a greater chapter quietly forming behind the scenes. And when you finally see the connection between everything that has happened, you may realize that the story was never as random as it appeared. Here is the part nobody tells you when you are waiting for life to make sense. The biggest changes rarely announce themselves at the beginning. They often arrive disguised as confusion, silence, disappointment, or an unexpected change of direction. You may have looked at certain moments and thought, "Why is this happening to me?" But perhaps the better question is, what is this moment preparing me to understand? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and before this message is over, you may look at your own journey with completely different eyes. Think about the moments when you almost gave up on something because you could not see results. Think about the opportunities that disappeared just when you thought they were finally within reach. Think about the people who suddenly became distant, the plans that changed without warning, and the paths that seemed to close for no logical reason. At the time, those moments may have felt like losses. But sometimes a closed path is not the end of the journey. Sometimes it is the redirection that keeps you from settling for something smaller than what you were meant to discover. The strange thing is that you usually understand this only afterward. First comes the confusion. Then comes the waiting. Then comes the revelation. And perhaps you are closer to that final stage than you realize. Something else has been happening while you were busy trying to understand the obvious. You have been changing. Quietly. Gradually. Almost invisibly. The person who experienced yesterday is not exactly the person standing here today. Your patience has changed. Your awareness has changed. Your ability to recognize what feels right and what feels wrong has changed. Even the things you once chased may no longer impress you in the same way. That is not accidental. Sometimes the greatest preparation happens inside you before anything outside you changes. You may be waiting for a visible sign, a dramatic opportunity, or one extraordinary moment that proves everything is about to become different. But what if the first sign is already inside you? What if your growing desire for something meaningful is itself evidence that you are entering a new season of your life? Don't skip, because this is where the hidden connection becomes important. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There is a reason certain thoughts keep returning to your mind. There is a reason certain possibilities refuse to disappear from your imagination. There is a reason you sometimes feel that your life is meant to become more than what it currently appears to be. That feeling may not give you the complete answer, but it can become the beginning of a completely different direction. Now listen carefully, because this may be the part you have misunderstood for a long time. You may think you are behind. You may compare your progress with someone else's and quietly wonder why their life seems to be moving faster. You see their achievements, their confidence, their opportunities, their visible success, and then you look at your own journey and wonder whether you missed your moment. But you are comparing your private chapter with someone else's public page. You do not know what they had to overcome, and they do not know what you have been carrying. Your timeline cannot be measured by someone else's clock. The fact that something has not happened yet does not automatically mean it will never happen. Sometimes the waiting period is where your character becomes strong enough to handle the very thing you have been asking for. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and there is a revelation coming that may completely change the way you interpret your delays. Imagine discovering that some of the moments you considered wasted were actually the moments that taught you exactly what you needed to know. Imagine realizing that every disappointment did not destroy your direction, some of them refined it, and then there are the people around you. This is where things become even more interesting. You have probably noticed that not everyone understands the way you think. Some people may see your dreams as unrealistic. Some may question why you continue believing when results are not immediately visible. Others may encourage you only when everything is already working. But you do not need everyone to understand a destination they cannot see. There are seasons when you have to protect your focus from unnecessary doubt. Not every opinion deserves a permanent place in your mind. Not every criticism is a prophecy about your future. Sometimes people judge what they can see because they cannot see what you are becoming. And this does not mean you should ignore wise advice, it means you must learn the difference between guidance and limitation. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The most powerful shift may happen when you stop asking, "Do they believe in me?" and start asking, "Do I still believe in the possibility of becoming better than I am today?" That question changes everything because it moves your attention away from outside noise and back toward your own direction. There is another hidden truth that may surprise you. The moment you begin becoming more aware, ordinary things start looking different. A conversation can suddenly reveal something you had never noticed. A sentence can stay in your mind for days. A small opportunity can lead to a larger one. A person you meet casually can introduce you to an idea that changes your direction. A decision that seems insignificant can eventually become one of the most important decisions you ever make. This is why you must remain awake to your own life. Do not assume that only dramatic events matter. Sometimes the turning point arrives quietly. Sometimes it looks like a simple choice. Sometimes it is the decision to try again after believing you were finished. Sometimes it is the moment you finally stop running towards something that was never right for you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and you may be surprised by how quietly the biggest chapter can begin. You are looking for fireworks, but the first spark may be almost invisible. Perhaps that is why you have felt that something is changing even though you cannot fully explain what it is. You sense movement before you see evidence. You feel that an old version of your life is becoming too small, but the new version has not completely appeared yet. That middle space can feel uncomfortable. You are no longer satisfied with what used to satisfy you, but you cannot yet touch what you are moving toward. This is the space where many people turn back. They become impatient. They assume nothing is happening. They return to what is familiar simply because familiar feels safer. But what if you are not stuck? What if you are standing at the edge of a transition? What if the uncertainty is not proof that you have failed, but proof that the old map is no longer enough? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There is a reason this message is asking you to pay attention to the small changes, because the smallest internal shift can eventually produce the greatest external transformation. Now imagine, for a moment, that you could see the entire picture of your life from a distance. You could see every conversation, every decision, every delay, every unexpected turn, every person who entered and left, every opportunity you accepted, and every opportunity you missed. You might discover something astonishing. Moments that seemed completely disconnected were actually influencing one another. One experience taught you patience. Another taught you boundaries. Another taught you courage. Another taught you how to recognize value. Another taught you that not everything you desire is necessarily good for you. And slowly, without realizing it, you became prepared for something you could not yet name. That is why your past deserves a second look, not because you should live there, but because sometimes your past contains clues about your future. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You may have spent too much time asking why certain things happened and not enough time asking what those experiences taught you. Future you once imagined. Maybe it is a version of yourself you thought was already gone. You may have convinced yourself to stop expecting anything because expecting less feels safer than being disappointed again. But lowering your expectations is not the same as finding peace. Sometimes it is simply a way of protecting yourself from hope. And perhaps you are being reminded today that hope does not have to be loud to be real. You do not need to know exactly how everything will unfold. You only need to remain open to the possibility that your story is not finished. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The chapter you are currently living may not contain the answer yet. But that does not mean the answer is not coming. There are pages you have not reached, conversations you have not had, opportunities you have not recognized, and possibilities you have not even imagined. So before you move on, remember this: you are not required to understand everything today. Some answers arrive only after you have walked far enough to recognize why the journey mattered. The silence will not last forever. The uncertainty will not define your entire story. The chapter that feels confusing today may become the chapter you later describe as the turning point. And perhaps the greatest revelation is not that something outside you is suddenly going to save your story. It is that you are becoming capable of recognizing the opportunities, relationships, choices, and possibilities that were invisible to you before. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next part of this journey will go even deeper. Because there is still one question left unanswered: what if the thing you have been waiting for is not arriving in the form you expected? What if it is already approaching through a completely different door? Keep watching, because when that door finally becomes visible, you may understand why so many other doors had to remain closed. There is a moment coming when something you have been overlooking will suddenly become impossible to ignore. You may wake up one ordinary day, look at your surroundings, and realize that the signs were never as hidden as you thought. You simply were not ready to recognize them. My beloved child was used only at the beginning of part 1, so now listen closely, because this part begins from a different place. You have been moving through life assuming that what you can see is all there is, but there is always a deeper layer beneath the obvious. People say certain things, but their actions may tell another story. Opportunities appear at unexpected times. Situations change without warning. And sometimes, the most important developments happen quietly while everyone is looking somewhere else. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the reason you need to stay is simple: the next revelation is not about something far away. It is about something already connected to your life. You may have dismissed it because it looked too small, too ordinary, or too familiar. But sometimes the most extraordinary turning points enter our lives wearing ordinary clothes. A simple conversation can become a doorway. A small decision can redirect an entire year. One moment of courage can separate the life you have from the life you could have. This is why you cannot afford to move through this season half awake. Pay attention. Listen carefully. Notice what keeps returning to your path. Notice what repeatedly catches your attention. Notice which opportunities make you feel more alive and which ones quietly drain your confidence. There is information around you that you have not yet learned how to read. What if the reason you feel confused is not because nothing is happening, but because too many things are happening beneath the surface at once? Think about how quickly life can change when one piece falls into place. One person introduces another person. One decision creates another opportunity. One lesson changes the way you approach the next challenge. One unexpected delay gives you time to avoid a mistake you would otherwise have made. At first, none of these events seem connected. But later, when you look backward, the pattern becomes almost impossible to deny. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You are about to understand why patience can be more powerful than constant movement. There is a difference between being inactive and being prepared. A seed underground may appear to be doing nothing, but something is happening where nobody can see it. In the same way, your life may look quiet from the outside while important changes are taking place within you. Your standards are becoming clearer. Your priorities are changing. Your ability to recognize what deserves your attention is becoming stronger. You are learning that not every invitation deserves a yes. Not every opportunity deserves pursuit, and not every voice deserves authority over your future. That awareness is valuable. Because once you understand your own direction, you become much harder to distract. Here is something you may not have considered. Sometimes the biggest surprise is not what enters your life, but what finally leaves it. An old habit. An old fear. An old expectation. An old way of thinking. An old version of yourself that believed you had to remain exactly where you were because change felt uncomfortable. You may have thought transformation would feel exciting every day, but often it feels strange before it feels powerful. You may question yourself. You may wonder whether you are making the right choice. You may even miss things you know you have outgrown. That does not mean you should turn around. It means you are human. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You are entering a period where clarity may come from subtraction rather than addition. Instead of asking what else you need, you may need to ask what you need to stop carrying. Stop carrying every opinion. Stop carrying every old disappointment. Stop carrying the pressure to prove yourself to people who already decided what they think. Stop carrying the belief that your future must look exactly like your past. Your future deserves room to breathe. And sometimes you create that room by releasing what no longer belongs there. But there is another reason you may have felt different lately. You are beginning to notice patterns in people. You are learning that words are easy, but consistency is rare. Someone can make a beautiful promise and still fail to show up. Someone can say very little and quietly prove their value through actions. You are learning to stop measuring people by what they say they will do and start noticing what they repeatedly do. This is not about becoming suspicious of everyone. It is about becoming wise without becoming bitter. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and this realization may protect you from wasting your energy in places where it cannot grow. You do not need to chase every person who walks away. You do not need to convince everyone to understand you. You do not need to force a connection that constantly requires you to abandon your own peace. Sometimes the greatest sign that you are growing is that you no longer feel desperate to be accepted everywhere. You begin to understand that being misunderstood by some people does not make you wrong. It simply means your path and their perspective may not be the same. And once you accept that, an enormous amount of mental space becomes available for what actually matters. Now let me take you somewhere deeper. Think about the dream you rarely talk about. Not the dream you mention casually when someone asks what you want to do. I mean the one that appears when you are alone. The one you sometimes imagine and then immediately tell yourself to be realistic. The one you pushed aside because life became complicated. Why does that dream keep returning? Why does your mind continue to revisit it even after you have tried to forget it? Maybe it is not a guarantee that everything will happen exactly as imagined. But it may be evidence that a part of you still believes there is more possible. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You do not need to announce your next move to everyone. Some things grow better in silence. Protect your focus. Work quietly. Learn quietly. Improve quietly. Let the results eventually introduce you. The world does not need a detailed explanation of what you are becoming. Your responsibility is not to convince every observer. Your responsibility is to keep becoming, and here is where the story becomes even more unexpected. The thing you are waiting for may require you to become someone who no longer needs it in the same desperate way. Read that again in your mind. Sometimes we want a particular outcome because we believe it will finally make us feel worthy, secure, or complete. But the deeper transformation happens when you build that sense of worth before the outcome arrives. Then the opportunity becomes an addition to your life rather than the foundation of your identity. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Imagine receiving exactly what you once begged life to give you, but receiving it with calmness because you have already learned how to stand without it. That is a different kind of strength. It means your happiness is no longer completely controlled by circumstances. You can appreciate success without becoming dependent on it. You can appreciate recognition without needing applause. You can appreciate people without losing yourself in them.